Well, World Suicide Prevention Day and Are You OK Day this week, which means there's been a lot of talk in the media, social media, and in private about mental health and suicide prevention. Tragically, the passing of Danny Frawley, an Aussie rules football legend, also has led to increased discussion. And the reason I'm making this today is because of some of the discussions I've seen around, particularly around Spud's passing. One of the things that is really challenging and breaks my heart as someone who deals with people, families, and communities who experience loss like this, is the sentiment of the friends and family who are left thinking things like, I wish I'd showed up a little bit more, wish I'd called him on the day or done this thing on the particular day. Things that allude to, I wish I'd cared more, and thinking that would have made all the difference. It's heartbreaking because when people who do care and people who do show up and people who are there and people who do support others are left behind after a tragedy such as someone taking their own life, being left feeling like you should have cared more is such a heartbreaker, because oftentimes that's not the thing that is missing in the lives of people who have people that care about them. What we do a good job of now, after 10, 15 years of really concentrated awareness raising and discussions, there's a good understanding that yes, people will be affected by mental illness. In fact, 1 in 5 people will be affected at some point, and 20% of the population will be affected at some point. If you know one of those people, it only takes one, let's say 40% of the people that are going to be very, very closely affected, and it doesn't take long before we're basically at a place where everybody knows somebody who has, at the very least, had a moment of depression, a moment of anxiety. Perhaps we know someone who's struggling with more complicated and long-term mental health troubles as well. And if we started to talk about it the way we talk about other illnesses, perhaps say cancer, then we would be able to relieve some of the pressure of people who are left tearing their own hair out about wondering about what they could have done more to help by caring more. What I mean by that is, if someone has cancer, we don't believe necessarily that if we just cared more, their cancer would get better. What we do is we take them to our fantastic universal healthcare system, where they are treated until they are better. That every effort will be made, that no stone will be left unturned, that they will be treated with the goal that cancer is put into remission. The goal is based on the person who is suffering from something getting better. And in that process, it's massively wonderful to have support around you, to have people holding your hand and showing up and caring. It's really important that we don't feel isolated. Being isolated and not having support or care is incredibly detrimental to human beings. But we don't believe that more care will make the cancer get better. We believe that having the right help helps the cancer get better. Showing up and caring through that process helps people get through that process and lean into it better and feel better in that process. Where we're dropping the ball now is that we are not doing a good job of putting together a process of helping people who are struggling from poor mental health, from a myriad of reasons that people struggle from mental health, from pathological to community-based to event-based struggles. We don't have a system that says we will work with you, we will do what we have to do until you get to a place where you are better. And it is one of the reasons why I started the Just Be Nice project so many years ago, was because people are not getting the help that they need, when they need it, for as long as they need it, irrespective of how they come to need it. If you get cancer, you will be treated until your cancer is in remission, or it is impossible to get you any further. And it can be treated for 15 years and no one will bat an eyelid. If you have a problem getting a job, you have a problem finding housing, you have a problem because of mental health issues, we do not have a system that says, come here, we will look after you until you're better, we will put the right people in front of you, the right interventions and the right support over and over again. And if it takes 5 years, it takes 5 years. And if it takes a week, it takes a week. We're here until you're better, because our outcome is focused on you. Giving the people around those individuals the chance to show up, care, hold hands, give hugs, encouragement, love, support, and more support again, while they go through this journey of interventions that are all pointed at getting them to an outcome that's better, that they're housed, that they're employed, that they have good mental health. We don't necessarily now need more panels of people talking about how the problem's getting worse. We don't need more white papers saying, well, it turns out people who are struggling financially, people who are feeling isolated, people who are on their own, people who lose their jobs or don't feel like they have a purpose in their lives, people who've lost agency, turns out they're more at risk of taking their own lives. I think it's fairly well established. It doesn't really require a bunch more people talking about it and a bunch of white papers. What we require is people to actually do the work. What we require is outcomes based on people getting somewhere, people getting better, not just on, well, we tried this intervention, let's just see how it goes. We need to keep our hands on these people until they are better. Now, when the help is there until people get better, I think we'll find that people lean into it. And we've seen that previously with, I guess, people's attitudes towards just medicine in general. Back in the day, people didn't want to go to the doctor that much, and now people don't really have a problem going to the doctor. Part of that is because we encourage people to go to the doctor. Our health literacy is much better. All of those things, the accessibility is better. More people live in urban areas, all of those things. But on top of that, outcomes from going to the doctor have actually improved exponentially as well. So when you go, you believe you'll get better. So going to the doctor to get better is actually a good idea. Whereas previously going to the dentist meant you're about to get a tooth ripped out of your head without any anesthetic, which is pretty shocking. Or you might go to the doctor and you might not get better anyway. Pretty much all markers for deaths that take you to hospital have improved over the years because of improved medical care and improved resources in that space. But at the moment, if you have any of these other kind of issues, if you have issues that largely point to struggles with mental health or cause struggles with mental health, i.e. things that make you feel like you've lost agency of your own life, things that get out of hand, issues that put you in a place where you don't feel like you have an option to move forward, those interventions at the moment are still very immature. We don't really have a system that takes care of that. The Just Be Nice project, we're trying to take care of that so people don't end up on television saying, I wish I just cared more, because it's not fair. That's not fair for people who do show up and care. I know lots of people who were very loved, who had lots of people around them and still felt helpless. They still felt like they had no agency. They still felt like they had no access to all the things they needed to get better. And because of that, because of the lack of a system that delivers help based on what you need, regardless of how you come to need it, those are the things that contribute to people feeling like there's no other option. What a terrible, terrible thing to ever feel like you have no other option, that this is your best option. Envisage a world where that's not the case, because there is always another option. There is always access to support that you need. Not just a voice, not just a lunch, not just a muffin, not just a pat on the back, but actually all the material help that you might need, all the things that you need, all the development opportunities, all the support, all the space that you need to get better. Whether they're pharmaceutical interventions at the beginning, whether it's rehabilitation, whether it's housing, whether it's access to relevant training opportunities for work or educational opportunities, whether it's looking after your kids so that you've got a chance to lean into those, whether it's moving you out of isolation, whether it's keeping you close to your family and your support network in order to help you with your mental health. There are so many ways that people get left behind, and they're not all related to whether or not the people around them care. And it breaks my heart that people feel that way afterwards. Caring is super important. Being isolated is absolutely a contributor to death. People who live in remote areas or very remote areas are 1.4 times more likely to die from any cause. We know that it's detrimental. So caring is amazing. Communities of people that show up and care about each other and checking on each other is super, super important. But it's a starting point. It's not the finishing point. And when people are struggling, we need to do a better job of helping the people who care about those who are most vulnerable and giving them access to all the assistance that they need. We need to show up for the people who are struggling and not demand that they struggle for one or two reasons, but just not care and just get stuck in and start delivering the help to them and make sure that they're moving along. We need to make sure that it is never anyone's best option, because there is always another option. There is always better support. There is always another way forward. And if you're not sure what it is, that you can call up, hopefully you can call up JBN and we can get the process rolling, because we're well resourced and we've got great partnerships with organisations that we can move you through and help you be better. So as we reflect on a week that's been, which is a really important week, and it's great that we're having these discussions, it's great that these things are up and about, I think we should also reflect on the fact that, look, we don't need more discussions about this, we need more action. If we want to do something about it, then we need to be doing something. And JBN, we spent a lot of time developing frameworks and understandings of how to do that. Obviously, we always need more resources and more help to do it so we can reach more people. But in the end, if there's anything that I can encourage people to do, it's to focus on now starting to get an outcome for people that are struggling, not just to say, hey, if we patch on the back and say, we care that we've done everything we can, because it really breaks my heart to see people feel that they didn't do enough. When really the case is we don't have a good system of delivering help to people in these spaces because we're not really focusing on that, and we need to do a better job of focusing on that. So this week, hopefully, we're able to mature our conversation towards being able to deliver that help, make sure people are housed, employed, and have good mental health, keep showing up for everyone, keep sharing, keep caring about one another. When you care, when you share what's going on with you, when you need help, when you reach out for help, that we've got an environment where the help is coming, the help is there, and we're supporting people who support other people, and we're supporting people in need, and we're making sure that people get better, because in the end, that's the thing that saves lives, is actually working until the job's done. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Give everyone a big cuddle. Go and say g'day, make a few phone calls, send a few texts, absolutely. And if you're looking for a way to get amongst making sure that people never feel like they're left on their own, well, drop us a line. We'd love to have you on board.